Well, see, that's the thing. It's like but that's the thing. Is like if you're really interested in something, or this is something that you put a lot of passion into, you have somebody that shows that same sort of interest in it. Like, it's just a good feeling. So I don't know.
That's tight.
I'm walking around here on cloud 9, but then also like watching TV, and I'm like, fuck. And so it's just like this anger.
There's a fire underneath your cloud.
That is a hell of a way to put it, and it makes sense.
Yeah. Cloud is actually smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So I don't know. I'm just.
Oh, now he's depressed. Thanks, guys. Fuck.
Yeah, but I know I'm going to probably yell at some point in this podcast. So I just wanted you guys to know that if I don't, or it's hard to get me there, this is the only reason why. There's a ton of shit I want to yell about. I'm just
here trying not to Drew Brees it. That's all I'm here for.
I got no problem. Look, I'm looking at myself. Well, you know what? That ain't even an indicator anymore. But some of the black people I've seen talking some shit recently.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those motherfuckers that ain't on my side. So, yeah, I ain't gonna say that. But I'm sure we will talk about Drew Brees at some point. This is a pretty good cold open. How about you count us down, Mauricio?
In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. My name is
Mark was bad.
I don't know. I just had a lot of food, so I'm like super fucking hyper.
He looked like a methed out Howard Dean. You remember? Yeah.
And we're gonna go to North Dakota and South Dakota.
It was so subtle. It was like it's like he did his heroin. Like he's right before he does his heroin.
I just had a whole bowl of stew and I'm drinking coffee. So
I'm actually wearing my Amsterdam t-shirt. Any Wire fans? Amsterdam?
Nice. Yeah. Yep. Oh, I kind of want that now.
Do enjoy The Wire.
So, welcome back to the podcast, to all three of you who listen and follow. My name is Mauricio.
More than three, you assholes. Stop selling us short. Sure. You're going to stop. All of y'all want to stop that shit. Whether it's James or whether it's you. Stop selling us short. We got subscribers. We got subscribers.
Here he goes.
I'm trying to get angry.
I tell you how many subs we have.
Hey. No, when we did the special episode, he's all about, we got 10. I'm like, fuck you. No, we got 20.
I mean, that's after. Like, we got 10 after that shit. So we had 10 at the time.
I'm just trying to get myself riled back up again. So just
okay, I'll say this too then.
Nonsensical reason to be upset.
All right, 46% of y'all that are watching right now, you aren't subscribed. Subscribe, goddammit. Thank you.
Yeah, this is what all the YouTubers do. Subscribe. Hit down below.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're there.
Like and subscribe and share.
Like and subscribe
to all
and
your
share.
friends.
And please comment with your favorite breakfast food.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
That would be funny as shit if we just got people just like saying, "Oh, I love pancakes."
Those are the topics I want to talk about on this podcast.
Do you remember what Dobrik used to do in his very first videos? He would tell people, "Tag your friend and tell him he's a pussy on your video," or something like that. Would she do that?
He would have the instructions at the end before he had to cram everything into the video.
Yeah.
So you had to stop it, then you had to screen record and pause at the right time so you could read what the message was.
Some dumb shit that he put in there.
Genius. It's genius shit. All right, sorry for interrupting your intro. Continue.
All right, so welcome back to the podcast. My name is Mauricio, and I know nothing about sports. So I'm here with my best friend Ryan, my good buddy Kareem, the guy wearing the Vegas Raiders hat. We are gonna talk about sports and things that are sports related, obviously.
Sportsy stuff.
Yeah, sportsy stuff. The first thing that we got to talk about is my man Drew Breesy.
Who
wants to go?
I have 2 seconds.
Okay, go ahead. And then Kadeem.
I've watched him backpedal in the pocket, but this was exceptional backpedaling. It was
digging his own grave. Yep.
We cleared that for you to get that joke off.
Yeah. Do you want me to go, Kadeem?
Huh?
You want me to go or you go?
One of yous.
How honest do you want me to be? So from an
I'll
honest
go first.
No, here's the thing. What I was gonna say is from an honest standpoint, James tells me last week, so we need you to rant first because people tune out. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Nah, go ahead.
I'm here.
Oh my
So
gosh.
people know
Oh,
I'm
you're
getting loud.
pretty.
I'm
No,
here.
you're pretty. Fucking
You
No,
do it.
you
You
hang up
do it.
first. No, you hang up
My
first.
I hope you have a
Do
great
this.
day.
All right, I got. Do you want me to go or do you want to go, James? Up to you.
You go ahead.
Go ahead, K-Dot.
Drew
James, you
Brees-
go. No. Go.
Go ahead,
You know what's
K-Dot.
so weird? I'm wearing shorts, so I'm like feeling my legs right now. So
It's
right,
okay.
Drew Brees is symptomatic of almost every white person that exists right now, or at least a good majority of them. So everyone can look at Drew Brees' action. Well, breakdown of what happened, right? So Drew Brees, years back when the Colin Kaepernick situation came out, he had been on the record as saying that he thought that it was disrespectful to the flag to take a knee, blah, 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 blah. Made it about that part of the argument. So it's like one of Trump's boys and all that bullshit. So now with everything that's been happening over the course of the last week, a lot of the NFL players have been very vocal about their stance on this. And Colin Kaepernick's situation has come back to the forefront as we've talked about on previous, right? So yeah, Drew is doing the interview with Yahoo Finance, which is, I don't know why he's on Yahoo Finance, but he's doing an interview with them, and
Privilege.
they ask him about what's happening again and how it's kind of, before he says anything about George Floyd, before he says anything else about having his teammates back, whatever, he goes right into the narrative about the flag and taking a knee being disrespectful and how he would never do that because of what it symbolizes for him as far as his grandfather that fought in the wars and this, that, and the other. It wasn't well received, to take it lightly. So you had like Martellus Bennett. No, Martellus didn't even say anything at first. Martellus came a little bit after where he spoke to everybody. But it was like Malcolm Jacobs, who's a teammate, Alvin Kamara, all those guys started saying stuff. So Drew tried to save face again and put another apology out. And while it was better than the first apology, it still was some half-ass bullshit. It wasn't well received again. Everybody kind of like, it's status quo. Then you had other NFL quarterbacks who hadn't already said something, started making some movements. So it was like Aaron Rodgers released a statement. And people are like, oh, man, that was a great statement by Aaron. He didn't pull any punches, this, that, and the other. So Martellus Bennett kind of wiped out everybody. We're like, yeah, fuck that. And it's kind of the way I feel right now with Drew after he then released the last video, which was the actual video apology where you could see it in his face. There is no doubt in my mind, I do not under any circumstances look at Drew Brees and say this is somebody who is – he's not aware, as most people are aware of, inherent racism that you might have in your head that you're not even aware of. Drew Brees has done a shit ton for New Orleans. He's done a shit ton for the black community in New Orleans. Everything he's done as far as relief efforts after Katrina and what New Orleans has gone through speaks for itself. He has been an amazing person across all those lines. But right now, throughout this entire situation, you have to be careful with what the fuck you're saying, especially right now. Like, under no circumstances should you be continuing to peddle the bullshit narrative about the national flag kneeing thing. If you've even taken any time to listen over the course of the last 5 years to anybody about it, you'd understand that that's not the point anymore. Talk about the issue at hand. Talk about the issue at hand. And you got a lot of white people right now that are walking on eggshells because they are still thinking in that mindset and they don't even realize the privilege and the bullshit that has to go through their head and the mental hoops to get to that point and still disregard what the fuck we're talking about. Like, they're trying to be an ally, but they can't even help themselves, but still fucking disregard what we're talking about.
Do you think because it's not relatable to their lifestyle?
It's because at a core fundamental standpoint, this is going to sound fucked up. Most white people don't care. They're trying to learn to care about this particular situation. And it's weird because, like, as black people, we're sitting down there trying to figure out, like, it's a weird balance between somebody giving somebody an attaboy when they spent so many years not listening. And then they show one or two glimpses of, like, oh, well, reconciliation on it, right? It's like, I don't trust it. Like, even when there are a few people that have done it the right way. Ben & Jerry's, the right way as you can possibly do as far as the statement goes, right?
Shout out Ben & Jerry's and the Vermonster.
Some of the Washington Wizards did a good job as far as just calling shit what it is. Like, there are certain people, certain organizations that are being real about the shit. But the same thing that I'm going down to D.C. and seeing what Mayor Bowser did with the Black Lives Matter on the street. Huge moment, right?
Beautiful.
But Lord knows if you think because you tweeted one or two things, an apology, or you think you wrote some shit in the street that we're done,
Yeah.
get out of here. So like, I'm going to balance right now with almost every white person that considers themselves an ally or anything else. I'm trying to give attaboys to a certain degree, but I make sure I follow up and let them know we ain't fucking close at all
This is just
to where we need to be on it. You can't even call it, this is a preamble.
Right.
We haven't begun to do the work. Right now, all we're doing is trying to get people to understand what's happening. That's literally all we're trying to do is get people to acknowledge what's happening. And it looks like it's getting across to a lot of people, but there's still so many people like Drew, regardless of your intentions, what you're not realizing is what we're telling you is that there's an inherent thing. It's not like, I don't think you have hate in your heart. It's not that deep. I just think that there's an ignorance to what black people are going through. So if you're trying to be an ally, the first step that I've been saying on here, and you've heard me say it for countless times, shut the fuck up and listen. You don't need to necessarily be quick to throw out your apologies or anything else if you haven't understood it yet. Everybody's gonna catch flat. You have shit that you've done in the past that you're gonna catch probably flack for, or you're not saying the right things because you don't know how to reach across and show that empathy just yet. You take yourselves and just listen. It's okay to put a post out and say, hey, I'm trying to soak all this in. I'm not trying to be fake or trying to be bullshit. Here's a list of black companies you can support. I'm watching movies today to understand black history so that I get a better understanding. I don't really have a statement to make right now, although I feel in my heart that I'm with these people. I don't want to speak from a place of ignorance. I don't see any person criticizing that. Just be fucking honest. Because we know that there are some people out there that are just riding this wave and they don't give a fuck. And I'm not trying to group everybody in that category, but I know they exist. So excuse my cynicism and excuse me for not wiping over all the bullshit that you've done over the course of the last how many years and just saying, oh, I forgive you. You're great. Kumbaya. Black lives do matter now. Fuck that. It don't work that way.
Yeah.
True.
James?
Well, first thought I had was, who is in Drew Brees' corner? Because he should have known that that question was coming.
Yeah.
No matter where you are, you should know that question's coming. When Cap first took the knee, every single locker room had that discussion. So Drew was in there in New Orleans with all the people in New Orleans, his teammates, and they had that discussion. There's no locker room that didn't. So what was happening then? He took a knee, but now it's all different. Like, why did you bring up that point that we've already debunked so many times? And then the first apology pissed me off because he said he could be a leader for the black community. How?
There was the second one.
I don't care. Well, whichever one. The first statement. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, see, you pissed me off again. God damn it.
No, that pissed me off. I'm like,
yeah, it was
I'm like,
that was
what are you doing? What are you doing? Then the second joint, like, he got the photo with the two hands with the blue sky in the back. Like, bruh, what are you doing?
The Getty images.
What are you doing? Now look, I've only heard nice things about Drew, right? And I've had this conversation before with other people that I would, before all this stuff came out, like I would consider a friend. And it's a difference between being like ignorant, like unknowingly, and being willfully ignorant. If you decide that that's the route you want to go after you like have that conversation, then I got nothing for you. Like you chose that. So now here's the consequences of you choosing that. They've had that talk with Drew already. So, and then when they asked him the question, the first thing he brought up was his grandfather's. And Richard Sherman said this, that he's acting like two people won that war. Our grandfathers were there too. But the difference is when his grandfathers came home, it was like a parade and all this other shit. When our grandfathers came home, different story.
Jim Crow.
Yeah, like we couldn't even vote. Like, the fuck is he talking? The shit like that pisses me off because you look at Drew being as a thoughtful human being. Like, he's done a lot for like the black community, especially like in New Orleans. But it's still like, you still think like this? Like, who's in your ear? Who's talking to you? Who are you talking to?
Yeah, I think,
But I don't. Wait, one more thing.
My bad.
I'm not pissed at Drew, right? I'm upset at the situation and the narrative that was being shared. But like, I have empathy, as I always do, as we as a people always do. Like, we're pissed off, but just show us with your actions. Like, this time it seems as though he, like, from the final, like, the video, it seemed like he got it. And it's like, all right, well, what do you do now? Right? And
last night's thing. Did you see what he posted last night?
yeah, to Trump.
Yeah, that to me was that's a moment.
Yeah, because especially after just praised him.
Yeah,
like early, and that's like, okay, well, look, now I definitely put you in the category of you've had that talk now for sure.
Yep.
What do you do now? So either you're enlightened somehow, or you still decide to be willfully ignorant. Pick one.
Well, there should only be one that you need to pick.
Right, but
Pick one.
I see this coming from the white perspective, and I see people doing this, and I'm not guilty of it. Might have been when I was a kid, but I see a lot of people who are white who are like, well, I have black friends and I've done this and that for my black friends and I've done this and that for the black community, and that's fine. These are great things that you've done, but that's the past actions don't reflect on your present thoughts. So Drew Brees has done a lot for the black community, and then probably inside his head, he's like, well, I can't be racist because I've done these things. That's the issue.
Yeah, you think about all the philanthropists.
Yeah, it's almost an excuse to make what is in your head sound okay. Like there's some sort of disjointed, feeling of pride that you did those things, but that doesn't change what's in your head and coming out of your mouth. And I think that needs to change.
It's kind of when people say, I can't be racist, I have black friends.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. That's
right.
That's you taking what someone calls you a racist, and you're taking that and you're like, oh, look over here. This is the issue. It's not this. That's great that you have black friends and you've done stuff for the black community. Cool. Great. Right on. But you're missing the issue. It's right here. The ball's not over here.
I like what Matt Ryan's done so far.
I was actually going to ask you that because I did not catch the Matt Ryan bit.
He came out and said how he saw his community hurting. Right? He said, I see my city hurting. So he donated $500,000 to an initiative, and the goal is to raise $2 million because his number's $2 million. I mean, his number's number 2, not $2 million, but he wants to raise $2 million. So him saying how he wants to understand, like to listen and learn and understand, that goes a long way, right? Because I mean, before now, people just didn't do it. Because if it doesn't affect you, like, you don't really care.
Yeah, why should you worry about it?
Because it's uncomfortable, and people don't like doing things that are uncomfortable.
But now everybody has to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, and that's just how it is.
I do want to shout out my team, Kadeen. I was arguing with yes, because for a second I thought I was arguing with you, but it was another friend. No.
Do we all look alike?
No. Man, do I look like you?
I'm asking. I'm just saying.
No, I'm telling you. Do I look like you?
There are a lot of black people I'm seeing that hate themselves right now, so I'm just asking.
That's true.
Qualifying
That's
questions.
true. No, but
Like my
I said
fucking
that
aunt.
because only
you,
you
auntie.
and the other friends are the only people I argue with.
I don't argue with you.
Yeah, we
You
argue.
got spirited discussions.
You just, I will say, you just bit my will for ignorant bit, you piece of shit. You know you got it from me.
No, I told you. I told you when we had that conversation. We had like a 2-hour conversation.
Pause. I'm gonna slide backwards just a sec. As you've noticed, when talking about this subject, I was as calm as I possibly can be because I've been trying to strike a more reconciliatory tone.
Okay.
It's not necessarily how I feel, but it's me trying to work on the messaging to get people to join the cause. Now, allow me to be more honest just for a second.
Okay. How honest you trying to be?
Be as honest as I need to be.
Okay.
They ain't canceling black folk out here right now, so you got a free pass, right? As long as I don't say any racist shit against some other people, and I'll be careful about that right now, right? Okay. We know damn well. When I say we, I'm talking about black folk. Down black folk. We know goddamn well that it wasn't no motherfucking George Floyd video or anything that you've seen over the course of the last 3 days that's changed your opinion on what you had 6 months ago. The light switch don't flip like that on fucking racist thought. All right. Yeah. So we get it. We get what you're trying to do. A lot of the statements and everything out here, the reason we think they're hollow is because they're fucking hollow. We know they're fucking hollow. We know you are going. I feel phone calls all day from white folk that want to feel better about themselves in this sort of situation because they feel uncomfortable as fuck. So it's asking Negro time. And can I post this on Facebook? Can I not post this on Facebook? How do I become an ally? How am I a good ally? How can I be your buddy? Where can I send money to? What movie should I watch? What can I learn Black history? What did Martin Luther King say? What
start charging for that? Charging for advice. I'm
gonna walk around with a sign, ask a Negro. ask your Negro what questions you have to fucking feel better about yourself, right?
Don't do that. No.
Look, we know it don't flip like a fucking light. It's thought, right? This is why what we want. Basically, if you have there are a lot of white folk that at least have gotten the comprehension around that, and that if you've had those thoughts, they're fucked up. That's the acknowledgement. Is that it's fucked up to have those thoughts. That is something that is a switch. You can figure that out. That's easy to figure out. If you haven't even figured that part out of it, fuck off. You show me you're a piece of shit. You have no empathy. You can't even realize it's a problem. You're a fucking problem.
You're fucking up the audio.
Yeah.
Now, outside of that, you have people that might have come to the terms that it's a problem, right? So now it's, how do I address the problem? You got some folk that are running so goddamn fast to issue their apology or their bullshit that all they're doing is trying to find the right words to do so, to help their image, to help their brand, to help all this shit, because it's now the wave, right? And it's fucking horseshit.
No, the ball's over here. That's what they're doing. They're doing the whole ball's over here trick, but it's actually over here.
So it's, look at all this. I don't like the phrase virtue signaling. I don't like it's just, it got some terrible connotation to me. But there are a lot of situations where people are hopping on this fucking wave because it's now the popular thing to do. So there are a lot of these companies that are saying it, and you see in their presses, there's nothing about black in it. There's no Black Lives Matters at the end of it. They are working with their legal teams the entire way through to figure out what kind of statement they're supposed to make. And I'm sure a lot of these influencers and everything else are doing the exact same thing, right? So where it comes down to is for us, we look like assholes if we question you, because you got to give somebody credit for trying to have I don't think I give someone credit for growing in their thought process and what have you. I think people can change. It's a fundamental thing that I believe that people have the ability to change. I believe it to my core, okay? So I want to give people credit for it. But You can't for a second fucking think that if you thought a certain way about the flag and the bullshit with Colin, or you thought about when you saw Black Lives Matter, there was a certain thing you thought, we know, and you didn't just change your mind. Maybe you've gotten to the point, like we said, that you acknowledge that there's an issue. But now we have to go on, how do you change that? Because it's an indoctrination thing. It is deep-seated.
I mean, education is a lifelong process. So to be honest, a lot of places that came out with statements immediately, I was like, no. I think some people and companies that have not yet made a statement kind of makes, if they never say anything, then I see you. But
I have a question.
I think a lot of people are sitting around and actually thinking about this before saying something. People that came out
don't think too long.
Yeah, I mean, some people might need to think. Some people might need to think longer than others. No, not about their decisions.
Not about the acknowledgement.
Not about the acknowledgement, but about
what to do after. Yeah,
exactly. Then you know what? I know what my part is, at least what I think I need to do, which is to educate my white people, even though I am now identifying only as Jewish. But
good call.
I don't like. I still don't know everything I need to do, and I'm okay with that because I will learn. Yeah. I'm totally comfortable with saying that. But I know what my first step is going to be, and the other steps I will learn in the future.
If any of you guys been to an AA meeting?
Yeah,
I have.
What's the first fucking step?
Oh, I kind of tuned out.
He was drunk.
He was good. He went to Alcoholics Anonymous to see if anybody had a good line on fucking booze. So
No, I went because I was court ordered.
The first step is acknowledging you have a problem. America has gone for hundreds of years not acknowledging that they have a problem. This is where we're at right now.
They acknowledge every problem but ours.
Exactly. So here's the thing. There's a great comic that came out. It's like some cartoonist or something put it out, and it's two guys backpacking, and you see that there's one plateau that they reach, and they got a sign that says acknowledging that racism or white privilege exists. And you see the white person's got a backpack on, and he's breathing all hard and shit, and he's like this. You got a black guy holding his hand and pointing, showing that there's a whole mountain still left to go for equality. Don't think that we are at the beginning of this shit. We're just acknowledging that there's a problem. If
put
you
it
still have people,
You should put it up here.
Oh yeah, maybe. Well, I copyright thing. I don't know. But if there's a situation where you still have people talking about the flag, you still haven't acknowledged yet that there's a problem because you're still using sideways bullshit arguments, and you're drawing. Like I said on here and other things, stop poking holes in what we say. Shut the fuck up and listen. If you want to help, you should know if you just listen to us how to help right now.
But now people are seeing the shit because you got videos of cops beating the shit out of white people too. Like when they pushed the old man down and said he tripped. And like he's sitting on the ground like bleeding profusely out of his head and shit. And it's like
out of his ear.
Yeah.
He was bleeding out of his ear. That's how fucked up the throat they pushed him. Now, here's the thing. This is going to sound fucked up, but I'm just trying to be as honest as I can be, okay?
Yeah.
I know that 75-year-old white guy getting pushed on the ground woke up some people because they didn't give a fuck. I wouldn't say they didn't give a fuck because George Floyd
didn't give a fuck.
Some of them didn't. But the 75-year-old guy was there, oh, my God, police are really fucked up. And it wasn't a knee on George Floyd's neck. Right? Like there are people that are seeing the protests happening, and that's waking them up because that person looks like them or their granddad or what have you. Mm-hmm. That is still something that needs to be addressed here. It's not for me saying that I don't feel terrible for that 75-year-old guy. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is that if you felt bad about that and it clicked with you, what you need to ask yourself is why it didn't click for you when you saw the George Floyd video. And if you're one of those people, that should be a full wake-up call to acknowledge that there is a problem. Stop being so uncomfortable with feeling uncomfortable. How the fuck do you think we feel? And my thing is that, especially right now, and like I said, trying to strike a reconciliation sort of tone, right? Black people overall are especially if you study our history, which is what we really want you to do, you'll know we are the most sympathetic fucking people maybe on the face of the earth. We are all walking around like goddamn Buddhist monks with the way we've been treated for the last hundreds of years. And you best know, especially if you study the history. Like, I was just watching Malcolm X the other day, made me feel all fucking militant. I ain't gonna go there. But just know, and this is what I've broken down with every white person I've actually talked to about this stuff in depth. We've gone through the history. If you're lucky enough to have gotten one of those conversations with me, trust me, I love the fuck out of you because I don't want to have it. But at the end of the conversation, I always ask them, aren't you really fucking glad we're only asking for equality and not revenge or retribution? Because we got every fucking right to ask for those things. And we're not asking you for that. We're asking for equality. We're literally telling you there's not much we want you to give up. We just want you to change your thought process in the way you treat us. We're not asking for anything else. When you look at death penalty statistics across the country, white people love that shit. And it's not to keep criminals or to keep killers off the streets. It's because of retribution. They want to fucking kill the person that did fucked up shit. Black people overall don't believe in the death penalty. Why? We are sympathetic people. That's why you have fucking Christian Cooper feeling bad for Amy Cooper losing her fucking job in New York after she called the cops. That's why you have Boston Jean's fucking brother hugging that bitch in the courtroom saying, I forgive you. We forgive entirely too easy. Even when it comes to the Drew Brees thing, you see some of the teammates are like, man, I kind of feel bad for Drew. No, let him suffer with the fucking consequences of his actions. You don't learn until you honestly understand that there are ramifications for your actions. But we're always there with our hand out, ready to give you a fucking hug. Where are you learning? There are no consequences to the action. Why do you think the cops get away with killing black people? There's no consequences for the shit.
Yeah, I think Shannon Sharp, his statement on, what's that with Skip?
Yep. Yeah. Undisputed.
I think it's
that
kind
was
of
my final thought. Thank you, Ryan.
Well, I'll leave it for your final. I'll leave it for your final thought. All right.
But speaking of statements, though.
Hold on, I want to say though. All right, so, Kadeen, has the skin said anything about anything recently?
This is actually something that I've been contemplating the last 48 hours. It might be an issue for our podcast going forward, because I'm at a point where some of these organizations are about to lose me.
All right, fair enough. Like, shit, there's a shit ton of other sports. You don't have to worry about.
Maybe soccer.
Yeah.
The amount of racism that you guys have taught me about when it comes to soccer, you think I'm jumping into that fucking shit? Nope.
Baseball,
no, but the players.
At least they don't hide it like the American leagues do.
Yeah,
basketball.
Basketball is the only one where I can actually say that we have a say.
All right. So, Mauricio, have the Eagles said anything?
No. Jenkins, well, he's not with the Eagles anymore, but
Nah, he's with the Saints.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, the Bills.
I think they made a statement, but I haven't read it.
Their statement was probably about Fromm, by the way, just so you know.
Jake from State Farm?
Nah, that dumbass Jake.
Yeah.
I
mean, I don't see how that kid can still have a job after that, but
yeah, that was pretty weird. Also, we did, and I kind of want to give the Raiders a little bit of the flowers. Like, I know it's my team and all, but they've been doing a lot of, like, they pioneered a lot of shit, like, in terms of progressing the league forward. So
they had a statement before the NFL had a statement.
I believe so.
Not even before this entire situation, got, as much as I will give the Raiders shit, and they well-deserved shit.
Sometimes, yeah.
They were pioneers in the sense of the coaches and the general managers. They didn't wait for a wave to come up as far as hiring blacks or Hispanics for jobs. They did that shit.
Hey, I got it. Hold on. Art Shell was the first black coach. Us. We had the first Hispanic coach, Tom Flores. We had the first, I think, and maybe only woman CEO, and Amy Trask. And
someone's phone vibrating?
Yeah, that was mine.
How unprofessional of you.
Your own fucking point. You interrupting yourself. What kind of self-cops is that shit? God damn. Have more faith in yourself, man.
That's it. The podcast's over.
I'm podcasting, bro. I gotta call you back.
He answered the phone?
I did.
What's his
You
name?
did too before
Who just called you?
Ryan, you did too. Everybody did but me. That was the first time.
I don't remember.
He's trying to show us
don't remember?
He's just trying to show us that he has friends. It's okay.
Yeah. Besides you guys. But Amy Trask, she was the first
co-workers.
She was the first and only woman CEO. She might not be the only now, but and we nicknamed her the Princess of Darkness. That should we have some great ass nicknames. Fuck you.
Y'all embrace it. What does your fucking new stadium look like if not a villain's fucking lair?
What did you say? I didn't even hear what you said.
Look at you, just attacking me for the sake of attacking me.
Because you said something, and usually it's an attack against the team.
I don't buy the bullshit that is black on black crime, but I won't stand here for black on black criticism.
Shut up. All right, but I think I believe it was before Goodell put out his video.
Are we talking about that?
No, not yet. But the Raiders.
I've been trying to segue it in, but we need to.
I just want to make sure it was on the list.
We're going into it next.
Okay.
The Raiders put up a tweet that just said Black Lives Matter. And it was just a photo that just said Black Lives Matter and had the Raiders shield at the bottom.
Now available to gift shop near you.
Nah, it's not. I was like, I haven't seen any other team do that. That's what I'll say. And then the funny thing was they left the comments open. So the first comment was a gift of the Rock that just said, finally. And then the one below that was someone saying, all right, if you serious about it, sign Cap. Y'all love quarterbacks, right?
Oh.
And I was like, good fucking point. I mean, we got Mariota, but why the fuck not?
True.
So yeah, and then segueing into Goodell in his video, I think that was all bullshit. Just because it was a response to all the NFL players, like Mahomes included, making that video.
Barkley, all of them, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
Chase Young was on that too.
Chase Young was on there.
With
OBJ and Jarvis
and
it wasn't no
Michael
scrubs.
Thomas.
Yeah, weren't
Michael
scrubs.
Thomas.
They have that video.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Leaders. They had legitimate stars and influential motherfuckers on that video. Wasn't your third string lineman? Just saying some shit. And they held the NFL's feet to the fire.
Yep.
And here's what I'll say about this. I think exactly what I just said as far as the Drew Brees thing and just the collectiveness of where white people and organizations are going right now. The same thing goes to the NFL. I will say this. It was a momentous moment. You have to give credence to the moment. Having the players hold these guys' feet to the fire and having the NFL saying, you know what? Fuck how we look with a good portion of the fans that might be Trump supporters and might not believe in this shit. We're going to back our players. Now, like I've been saying with everything else, all we're doing right now is acknowledging that there's a problem. Roger Goodell doing that with the shield behind him is one thing, right? What does that NFL do now? But the main thing that needs to be seen, and yeah, you can see in certain organizations they're doing things when it comes to like what the Raiders are doing or what have you. Or a lot of teams, I think all but a fraction of the teams in the NFL have not at least released a statement. What are the owners going to do? Because when you had guys like Kyle Shanahan, I don't know if you guys saw his statement, as far as there being no excuse for the number of black coaches in the league compared to white coaches with how the league itself is made up players-wise. He said you have to acknowledge the fact that there's racism. Now, they brought up certain things in the league meetings as far as like compensation for hiring black coaches or cap penalties, whatever. Regardless of what it is, it's still acknowledging – these owners have to acknowledge that they have a problem, that there is a problem, and then work to solve those things. I don't know if y'all guys see one of the co-founders of Reddit gave up his board seat on Reddit, the amount of money the motherfucker's making, gave it up and suggested to the board, please do not replace my seat with anyone that is not black. is a fucking leader saying that I understand where the system itself is and how fucked up things are, and I need to take a step. So that's the thing, is that who's going to step up? If you got a general manager saying, look, there's some shit going on, and I know I worked hard for my job, maybe I get another job, but somebody needs an opportunity. I need people to step up. We're acknowledging we all have problems. Not all of us. Y'all have problems. And now it's, what the fuck are we going to do now? You will not, one of my favorite statements to this the last few weeks, you will not pacify me with bullshit. We're past that point. This shit is a movement. It's bigger than anything I've seen worldwide as far as people on board with this shit.
Put Corona on the bench.
Unheard of. Corona has 110,000 people dead in this country and is taking a backseat. My sister, who's as paranoid as they all are as far as coronavirus, is headed down there today.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how important this shit is.
Mm-hmm.
Got Corona benched.
What are you going to do now is what I want to know from the owners of the NFL teams, the front offices of these NFL teams. Do you want to give players more power and more say, like the NBA or anything else does? That, to me, was the big point as far as yesterday, is the NFL never admits when they're fucking wrong. And I also don't know what the fuck this does as far as that collusion case or anything. I don't know if that has any implications with that. Because they basically admitted to the fact that they were disregarding their fucking players. No, they did not mention Colin Kaepernick, which was something they had an opportunity to do, which is why I always think any of these things are measured. They're being very political. So if you want to know why my cynicism level is up, it's because I know Roger Goodell didn't just say, turn the camera on me, I'm in the basement, I'm going to speak from the heart.
No.
He went to that legal team, he went to the board, he went to everybody else he needed to clear with, is this statement okay?
And I
I
think
also need to shout out the Jaguars.
Shad Khan.
Yeah, but they've been doing a lot. Like, who knows what brought it on? Like, I mean, I figure we all do, but the fact that they've been saying a lot of shit about it, and like Shad Khan wrote an op-ed and everything like that. So, like, you got to acknowledge that. So.
yeah, I forget who it was, but someone was after I think Kaepernick and the NFL settled at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were a lot of people who were upset at the settlement, not because they didn't think he deserved it, but I guess there was an NDA. There was signed a non-disclosure agreement. Yep. And that controls both sides. So neither side can talk about it. But that's going to suck. I mean, they can always go back and be like, hey, we're gonna agree that we're gonna lift this NDA. But that's why that NDA was so, in my opinion, detrimental to the league. It's because that conversation just couldn't be had legally on either side. And I think it needs to be. I don't know.
I don't think that I think it's going to be hard pressed, especially right now, for any of us to. I keep saying us and I say we. Like, I'm not trying to speak for Black people, but what I'm showing is I'm speaking for a collectiveness of where I think everybody's mindset is in the movement. So when I say that, I'm not speaking on behalf of everybody. I'm thinking in a sense of where I think other people are, or where they maybe should be. It's very egotistical, but I just want to acknowledge what I'm doing. It's going to be hard for anybody to really believe anything the NFL is saying unless they address the main component to this, which was Cat. Like Pete Carroll has, but Pete Carroll also has said shit in the past, so this is not new to him.
And they had a chance to sign him too.
They had a chance to sign him too, and I forget what happened as far as.
I'll tell you. I
heard rumors, but I don't know what happened.
Apparently, the story was that they asked Cap if he would be kneeling or not, and he was like, "I'm not going to tell you," and then they just didn't sign him.
Yeah, see, and that's on that bullshit, right? Now you got other players where I'm going to give my boy Adrian Peterson. Love that man to death. And he's phenomenal watching Redskins quarterback, running back. And I'm on the fence about whether or not I'm actually going to watch a Redskins game anymore. I'm being completely honest. But having him say that, like, oh, we're all going to kneel this year. Thank you once again for your growth. where the fuck were you 5 years ago?
You didn't kneel 5 years ago?
Some of those guys didn't. Like some of those guys, and I think Adrian was at that point where he liked the lock arm stuff. Don't hold me to that, because he wasn't.
I know Rogers did that.
He was Adrian Peterson wasn't on our team when that shit was actually going down. So I don't know what he was doing. But there were a lot of that. Or we're just gonna lock arms, or we're gonna have everybody's hands around each other, because Lord knows it's just anything but a knee, right? So I mean, there's a lot of people right now just because they feel safe. Which is overall, like I said, it's a good thing that we're moving in that direction, right? Forgive us for being cynical, because we've been shown little glimpses of this dog and pony show before. All we're doing is having people acknowledge what the fuck is going on. The real work has not started.
All right. One more thing that pissed me off about Drew. The first thing he said when he was talking about, like, I will not tolerate someone disrespecting the flag, right? I haven't heard him speak out about people wearing the flag on their shorts or in hats or walking at concession stands during the national anthem or doing anything else.
They never do. They never acknowledge their hypocrisy. They don't acknowledge that. They don't acknowledge that. They don't talk about the fact that he's in Louisiana where the Confederate flag can be seen every other fucking block. And having a Confederate flag is a direct fucking hit and a shot against the United States of America. That's that's what it is. It's basically a fucking splintered terrorist organization that lost to the United States of America. How un-American is that? Am I walking around with a fucking ISIS flag on me? No, because everybody would look at me like I've lost my goddamn mind. But no, because Grandpappy fought for the fucking South, I'm supposed to support that? Like, you got Germans over there saying, I'm so proud of my Nazi grandfather? Fuck no.
Zero.
It don't work that way. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's warped ass bullshit. It doesn't make any sense. People think that it just flips like that. It fucking doesn't. This shit is, if you still can wear or fly a Confederate flag anywhere in this country, that's all you need to know about how far we have to go. I was talking to somebody I was born in 1989. Dr. Martin Luther King died in 68. He was still protesting, still fucking getting hosed, still getting called a nigger by all these fucking white folk, especially in the North. They were more scared of the North than they were ever scared of the South as far as protesting. When they were in the South, 100 Klansmen might show up. You in Chicago, 10,000 white people that were fucking pissed off that the Negroes were moving into their neighborhoods would show up. Night and day. The North was fucking scary. But everybody has this concept, the race is just in the South. Fuck that. It's prevalent everywhere. What I'm saying is I was born in 1989. 68. That's 21 years. That's it. 21 years. What happened to all those racist folks? They didn't die. They didn't die off. They're still there.
They're 45 now.
It's 2020. 9/11 was 19 years ago. I remember that like it was yesterday. Like it was yesterday. So from the moment I was born, you think all those motherfuckers just died? They didn't raise children with their belief system? The fuck? Like, I don't. How can you can ignore, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yep.
Why do Klansmen wear robes? Why do they wear robes and why do they wear masks? So they can go back to their jobs during the day and you can't tell who they were. They're everywhere.
They're a bunch of bitches. That's what they are.
That's how you know they know that it's wrong. Because they're hiding 100%. Their faces.
That's what it is. I mean, but I don't understand have the honest fucking conversation. Right. Do your history, do your research. If there's a reason why everybody's wondering, why isn't a black leader stepping up with Black Lives Matter? Because we all end up fucking dead.
Every time.
Every time. Even Ferguson. Go ahead and look at all the activists in Ferguson that have died since Ferguson. Then if you really want to study our history, look at MLK. Look at Malcolm X. Look at Stokely Carmichael. Look at Huey Newton. Look at all them youngins. We never fucking make it.
Yeah.
Yep.
On a lighter note,
what's lighter than racism? Anything?
Everything.
Almost.
Far. Because you said, let's talk about something else. Because anything's going to be lighter than that.
Let's talk about sex.
Are we talking about genocide next?
No, I'd rather not. Today, Bayern played, obviously, and they were wearing the anti-racism shirts. But
they had Black Lives Matter armbands.
Armbands.
It was on the shirt, too.
It was a
like
dope shirt.
The warm-up shirts.
Yeah, but also Dortmund played after that, and they all took a knee in a moment of silence for George Floyd. So I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Moving on to the NBA, that's supposed to come back on July 31st. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Finally.
There's 8 teams fighting for the last 2 spots. Am I right in saying that?
Well, it
was confusing.
Total, and then it's 13 in the West and 9 in the East, right? So the Wizards are they're the 9th seed, right? Good
I think so. We just get it in.
Yeah. So like it's you and the A seed fighting for their last spot.
Oh, okay.
And then it's 13 teams in the West. So
that's so the Pels have an opportunity.
I think what they did was if you were 4 games back or something like that. Then you had a shot.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to pull up the bracket.
Yeah, it just seemed confusing to me because I saw it and I was like, well, that doesn't seem even.
And I think how they're going to do it is they're going to continue with the normal schedule, but if you're playing a team that's not in that 22-team range, you just skip it and go to the next one. They're going to figure that part out.
Yeah, they have the race for 8 in the West. It's the Trailblazers, the Pelicans, the Kings, the Spurs, and the Suns.
Yeah, so the Mavs are in. Thank God. We can just sit there and chill.
The Mavs are in.
Yep.
I'm sad. Vince Carter's career is over.
Yeah, it sucks.
Didn't he hit a dirty 3 on his last game though?
Yeah, like last second buzzer beat or something like that.
That's a good way to
half man, half
the
amazing.
Weirdest careers in the history of the NBA.
Yeah,
true.
He's still got some hops though.
Yeah, I mean he's still
ridiculous. I know, and he's 40.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
You're right. It is a weird ass career.
Yeah.
Yeah, what he could have been, what he showed flashes of, what he ended up being for periods of time, how he kind of hated Toronto, then grew to love Toronto, then hated Toronto again. It's just a weird – if you look over Vince Carter's career, it's like he shows flashes of being like one of the best talents the NBA has ever seen. And
when
then
you
go
over
through
that 7-foot guy. Cool.
But you get all these periods of time where the motherfucker can't win shit, but it's not – but it's almost like he didn't show up. A lot of times. It's such a weird career.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody show flashes of it's like showing flashes of Iverson. Like you're just all the way out, and then Jamarcus Russell shows up out of nowhere. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like you can play like him.
Wait, why are you
playing like him?
Why you do that?
I literally could not think of a better example. Give me a better example than Jamarcus Russell for this. There isn't. Thank you. That's why I used it.
But I hate. Why? Why you bring up
if you
trauma?
could give me a better example, I would have used it. The only other one I could think of was Albert Hainsworth, but the visuals didn't work for me.
David Carr.
No, David Carr was busy getting his brains bashed in by a non-existent offensive line. It's different.
True. But don't bring up Jamarcus, man.
David Carr never showed flashes.
Nah, if he had a good offensive line, he would have been okay.
I'm saying there are 2 first-round quarterbacks that I remember from the 2000s that could have actually been something if it wasn't for the teams.
Ryan Leaf.
Ryan Leaf had a drug habit. That doesn't
What
count.
the fuck are you talking about? What about Ryan Leaf?
He was supposed to be great, but he wasn't.
Ryan Leaf just sucked ass.
Yeah.
Jamarcus was never good. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. You show flashes of that. I'm saying that
flashes of what?
Of nothing. That was the point of the example.
So was Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, he's white. I don't like that bit.
That's true.
White.
Fuck's sake, man.
Huh? I was gonna say Albert Haynes was the only one where you could show the points he didn't show up.
RG3.
What about RG3?
He's not good.
Every time Every time he showed up in a game, he played his ass off.
Yeah.
RG3 was not bad. What the fuck
we're not
so
saying.
Why isn't he starting it?
Huh?
Why isn't he starting?
Because he's fragile.
He got hurt. Then he went to Cleveland where no one does well.
I retract my statement.
And he somehow got out.
Fine,
just use Jamarcus thing.
Just use Jamarcus. Fine.
Yeah, you win.
Let's
I don't know what the fuck we were talking about anymore. What's Jamarcus Russell? That's what
Vince Carter and the NBA.
Agreed.
NBA is coming back. Is where we started.
Yeah, you compared VC to Jamarcus, which is kind of crazy.
Fair. I said flashes. I also put Allen Iverson, so don't fuck that up.
He would come and play like Allen Iverson some days and play like Jamarcus Russell on other days. That's what he said.
But Jamarcus was so bad, bro.
Yeah, that's what he's
They were
saying.
Vince
He's
Chad.
That's the point.
Look
That's a
at
whole
He was
Vince's
not
playoff
that
numbers.
bad.
Dog, no. Go and look at some of Vince's playoff game numbers. You're like, who the fuck is this? It can't be Vince Carter.
Well, are you talking about when he was with the Nets or with the Raptors?
Raptors. There's some Raptors games. But then after the Raptors is when it just was just a fucking roller coaster.
Wait, was he on Toronto last year? He wasn't.
He went back. I
No,
remember he went for like
he was
a
with
farewell
Atlanta.
tour. But yeah, he was in Atlanta. But he went on like a farewell tour back to Atlanta, back to Toronto at some point, didn't he?
Yeah.
Was
Kinda like what they
I think it was a
always
preseason game.
He retired with Toronto this year, didn't he?
No, he's still in Atlanta.
We just know he wasn't going to play another game after they did the thing.
That's
It's
how
a-
important Vince Carter is right now.
Is it fair to say that Carter is as good just as he's bad?
Yes.
No. That's what y'all are missing. Doug, listen to what I said. There were games in which
James
Allen
confused me
Iverson version of Vince Carter would show up. There were
Right.
also significantly less games where the Jamarcus Russell version would show up and be like, what the fuck? There is no other star. Michael Jordan never
I
had a
got one.
Jamarcus Russell game.
I got one.
He might have had
I
an
got
off night.
He
Iverson
was
never
like
had a Jamarcus Russell game.
he
had an
was
off
like
night.
Maradona, right? But when Maradona was great, and then other times when Maradona was on drugs. But most of the time when Maradona was on drugs.
You might as well have used a cousin. Like, I'm supposed to fucking know who Maradona
Yeah,
is.
but also
Fuck.
Maradona was good on drugs or off the drugs. So that's
And
a
Vince
bad
Carter was not using drugs. Stop trying to bring. Why are you pulling every other fucking human
Yeah.
being?
I don't want to talk about Jamarcus,
You
man.
don't want the Jamarcus Russell
It
thing.
makes you uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable right
We all
now.
ask this of white people. Why can't you do it? We can't be hypocrites, dog.
All right, fine. Fine. All right, I'll talk about Jamarcus. I remember when every
We're
time
not talking about Jamarcus.
No,
We're just
no,
an
I
example.
need to get
Why is
comfortable
this the Jamarcus Russell segment?
because I need to get comfortable. So
Oh wait, what did you tell
anytime
me?
he would come into the game,
I want to
and
hear
if he
somebody
was on
else
the
though.
bench, I would hear the fans boo, and I was like, oh shit, Jamarcus is coming in the game. Right before they go to timeout, it's like, oh shit, here you come. And so it's like we had an extra offensive lineman every time. Homeboy was bigger than an offensive lineman.
He could
We
heave the
thought
ball.
about switching him to tackle. Who does that?
I mean, somebody who's locked up to a lot of
I
money.
was about to say something just now.
Gotta
I'm
find
reining it all the
somewhere
way
to
back
put
in, but I'm
I
definitely.
don't
as soon
like-
as this is over,
I
got
don't
something
like
to tell
when
Jay.
you do that. I just want you to say it because now I
I'm
really
being
want to
kind
know.
to James. He begged me not to do something, so I'm not doing it.
Look at this. That's
Good.
nice of you.
Huh?
Do it.
Why the fuck is the most seasoning you have about Jamarcus fucking Russell? Put your
Whoa.
seasoning in other places.
Because there's so much pain, bro.
That is like
It's
full
so much
diabetic
fucking
amounts
pain.
of salt.
It is
Shit.
so much pain.
You just gave me all the comorbidities for coronavirus and that fucking bullshit about Jamarcus Russell. The fuck is wrong with you?
It made me mad, bro.
All right, back to what you were talking about as far as the
It's
NBA thing.
triggering.
Like we said, everything's taking a back burner to the corona thing.
Mhm.
I still think all of these are terrible ideas, especially because now you have millions of protesters around the world fucking just infecting each other. We need to take a break. I don't like that the president isn't talking about this shit anymore. I don't think that I heard from Dr. Fauci. He hasn't spoken to the president in 2.5 weeks. We're in the middle of the pandemic still, okay? This is some crazy shit. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't trust any of it. And I think some bad shit's going to happen. I'm all for the movement, but I don't think NBA games should be played right now. That's just me.
Well, I
Well,
mean, they're doing
they're
it
going-
as safely as possible.
I know
Yeah,
the
they're-
Orlando thing and everything else. I just want to put it out here so that when we replay the clips and a bunch of people getting sick, they can say, this black guy got it right.
Well, people are already going to be sick just because.
You sound like
everybody-
Trump. And it's not about people are just going to get sick, you know. Well, we have to get the
No,
country
no,
to
no,
get back
no,
up. It's
no,
the economy.
no.
It's huge.
Look.
It's good.
No.
And it's
No,
good.
I'm
See, the
saying
job numbers
based on
are doing more
everything
for
that's
black
already
people than the
happened.
NBA ever has done. You know,
I'm saying
Because it's
based on
big.
everything that's already happened, where you have a bunch of people in a small confined location and everybody doesn't have on masks, the virus is going to spread. So I expect a second wave, and I wish it didn't happen. But
I think the second wave is an imagination. I don't think there will be a second wave. I just think that right now we have this number that's just kind of like doing this, and you're just going to have, it'll do this. And it's just going to be here for a minute because we're not doing anything to actually solve this shit.
If
Yeah,
anybody but you was editing this video, I would just have you going like this.
That might not even make the video. Actually, here's the thing.
Wait, Ryan, are we still going to Spotify?
Huh?
Are we still going to Spotify?
We should.
Yeah, it's still
Okay.
the episode's still getting
All
uploaded.
right. Oh,
But so
shit.
here's the
Because you
thing.
can't see it.
This is not to take away any. I'm not shitting on you, Ryan. Love you to death. We wouldn't have any of this without you. When I say I'm gonna edit shit, I edit the fuck out of shit. Okay, so you ain't gotta worry. If I say something ain't gonna be in there, something ain't gonna be in there. And I don't want black ass will be here doing that shit.
I know.
Well,
I
it's
can't
fine.
make this.
I
Like,
appreciate
there's already something Mauricio did a little while ago that I already see that I'm gonna blow up and have already all over this shit again.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Did you like your whole nipple rubbing thing? We had you.
That
you
was
didn't
funny.
That was fucking funny.
Wait, me?
You didn't watch
Yeah,
it. I know
you
you
didn't
didn't
see
watch
that part?
I don't watch them. I mean,
I
I
know.
play them, but I don't watch them.
Oh
doesn't-
yeah,
I did
there was
see
a
the
there was
llama
a drink
bit.
where it was just you just rubbing your nipples. It was like,
all the other video cuts out, and it's just
it was
a
the same
video of
episode
you
that I did the noise.
and where
Oh,
you're the llama.
That shit's so good.
Yeah, I saw the
Yeah.
llama. I saw the noise once, but I didn't see me rubbing my nipples.
It was the same episode.
Checks out.
Yeah.
I don't watch them, dude.
Now that I got the hard drive and I can just throw shit on the hard drive and not worry about the slowdown of the computer, your boy's doing some shit.
It's gonna be good. We also got.
I'm waiting for one of y'all to say some racist shit so I can just put a Klan hood.
Son of a bitch.
It's just.
Wow.
I'm the
Wow,
only
bro.
one that is relevant to. And
It was a warning.
they hate the Jews.
It was a warning, but if I keep it general, it ain't a threat. You're a lawyer.
To keep it legally vague.
In lighter news, the Klan.
Wow.
Fuck.
Oh God. Is MMA on that list? Because I just want to.
No, I didn't even know there was MMA.
Yeah, Nunes fights tonight. She is a bad woman. And then
Is it on pay-per-view?
The Lioness.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Fuck.
But and
I'm not paying for it.
Sugar Shane's gonna fight too. There's a
Shane
couple good
Mosley?
fights. Huh?
Shane Mosley?
No.
Like you just
Okay.
said Sugar Shane.
Yeah, that's what this guy calls himself.
There's only one Sugar Shane.
Yeah. What's his actual name? Hold, please.
You can't win if you call himself Sugar Shane. Just so you know.
All that I know is that Nunes is going to win because that's what she does.
Yep.
But also, I said the same thing about Woodley last week, and he got his ass handed.
That was funny.
Oh,
When we did
Sean,
in pre-production,
sorry,
he was like,
Shane.
"Yeah,
Yeah.
Whitney won." I was like, "No, he didn't."
I
What?
remember looking at it, and I'm like, oh, obviously he won. But then I looked at the fucking stats, and like he got his ass fucking handed. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about Nunes too.
Nah, I'm gonna say Nunes is gonna win.
Yeah, Nunes.
She always does.
Y'all have
Yeah,
fun
no
watching
problem.
that tonight while I'm working on the progression of my race.
Sounds good.
I'm not watching anyway, you son of a bitch. God damn
Thank
it.
Well, I'm meeting with people trying to figure out what it is we're gonna do to save our people.
Hey,
Yeah, y'all have fun
speaking-
watching people beat each other up.
Can you send me the
Speaking of
cliff
your
notes?
race, speaking of erasing your people,
You can't be in the meetings.
I
Let's
know,
talk
but
about-
I can at least read the cliff notes after. Shit.
You'll get the redacted version. That's what you white people like to do, right?
It's
So
just-
the
it's
redacted
just-
version.
All
can't
black
be in the
bars.
Here's the thing: the black bars. I have tape. I have like whiteout tape, but it says Black Lives Matter.
Oh my god.
You can't be in the meetings. It's great.
speaking of
Fucking nuts.
your people in your race, Mikey
What the fuck
Williams.
is all about you people?
Your people is what I said, you idiot. Mikey Williams, the
You call me an idiot?
15-year-old.
Why would you call me an idiot?
Oh my
If I didn't
god!
look like this, you wouldn't call me an idiot.
I
You
wish
better
you.
check.
You know what?
check
I
your
wish you
fucking
didn't
self,
look like
dog.
that because you're fucking
Check
ugly
yourself.
as fuck.
Look, I
That's
know
why.
you're from Peru.
Come
and I
check
don't know
me,
what
come
kind of
check me.
people y'all
Come-
got down
come
there. Y'all
check
probably
me.
get some Nazis because it's just South American shit.
No,
But
it's the wrong coast. They went down to Argentina. There's-
whatever version of Mexico you are from, I'm just saying, stop and understand what
what?
we're going through here. Okay.
Uh,
I'm aware.
All right, let's talk about
On
Mikey.
a serious note, I will say, is Julio okay? Because I heard the case numbers in Mexico are kind of spiking as far as the coronavirus.
Yeah, let's just get nuts over there. The plan is for August 1st
okay.
here.
I just wanted to make sure.
Appreciate it. Mikey Williams.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about him.
That guy is a fucking legend, and he's only 15.
Oh,
They're called-
the basketball kid.
Yeah,
Oh, who's going
There's-
to the?
they're saying that he's going to be the newest face of the NBA, but Kadeem, did you read his statement?
No, I did not read a statement. I have heard about it. I did mean to read a statement. I just haven't gotten around to it.
All right, can you pull it up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
keep talking. I'll pull it up.
Yeah. So Mikey is talking about going to an HBCU, and he's the #1 rated prospect of the 2023 class. And that's crazy for someone like to project to be #1 to say, yeah, I'm probably gonna go to an HBCU because they don't get that type of love.
I have a statement.
All right, go ahead and read it.
It's long.
Yeah, it's important. Okay. It's important. Pause.
This has been a.
Go ahead, man.
It's 2020.
Just
really?
Read it. I'm just joking.
I know, but your jokes carry weight. Look, we're all acknowledging shit now.
Edit, please. Edit.
I ain't
please.
editing that for shit. I'm gonna blow it.
This
has been a thought for years. This isn't just recently pop in my head. What a lot of coaches don't understand is we don't need them. We control our own narrative. I'm very thankful that God blessed me to be in the position to do that. We write our own stories. We determine what the next page in our life is going to be. But why does it always have to be the big universities? Why does it always have to be the big names? Have you thought about helping your own people out? We are the reason that schools have such big names and such good history. But in the end, what do we get out of it? Sorry. What a lot of top-level athletes don't understand is if you're a pro, then you're a pro no matter what college you go to, even if you don't go to college. If you're a killer, you are going to kill anywhere. Just the wording on that. Not enough people speak on things like this, and I've been meaning to do so and put some word out, but I figured this would be the perfect time to do it. I'm going to keep it short and simple. Not yet. I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm riding for my people. God damn it, I just lost. God damn it. I just accidentally turned it off.
Are you not taking this serious, Gideon? Is that what's happening?
No, I have something to say after.
Okay.
I just want to let everybody know that I'm riding for my people. I'm 10 toes behind the black community. Any way I can help or make a change in the black community, best believe I'm going to do that. Only God knows what the future holds. But when that time does come that I have to narrow my schools down to whatever number it is, there will be multiple HBCUs on that list, and they won't just be there for show. Now, when I last week when I did when I went on my rant, and I said that I was going to post an Instagram video. So I did post a video on Instagram. I posted a video on Facebook. I am kind of surprised by the numbers that they did, which was for me yelling. But on that video, I talked about what the next step was as far as having a plan or anything. So I've been working with some people here on my end. And one of the things that we talked about was a pledge that black people and allies could make. And one of the top things on that list that I've been talking to a lot of people about, it's not a new concept, is exactly what Mikey Williams is talking about. It's not just to have HBCUs in the conversation. It's to go to HBCUs. If athletes in America, if black athletes in America didn't go to the Alabamas, didn't go to the Georgias, the Florida States, the Floridas, any of those programs, do you want to see the NCAA crumble as far as when it comes to financial standpoint? It would immediately. If you start to go to these HBCUs, like I live basically on Morgan State's campus. To think that we could have some of the top athletes here, and if you're white and you want to be an ally, you know what you could do? Buy some tickets to come to these games and support and buy jerseys or what have you to help the HBCUs out. It could change the entire landscape. And I think that it's hard-pressed to pressure somebody into doing anything nowadays. But we're looking at what actually needs to change. I've never thought shame was a good motivator, but the shit seems to be working.
Shame?
Shame.
Oh, shame.
Shame.
Oh, yeah.
Now you talk about Sugar Shane Mosley.
Who is
Shame?
Also, his name is
Should
Sean.
have.
Sean? Oh.
Yeah. And his last name is
I love
O'Malley.
what Mikey Williams is talking about doing. Now, I know he's being careful that he's not fully committed to the HBCUs as far as what he did. But the first step as far as being that guy to come out there and say that should have been something we've been discussing for a very long time. I consider myself at fault for a lot of times what I say as far as killing the NCAA because of why I feel the NCAA treats their athletes. I still have criticism for the HBCUs if they're not paying their athletes too, which I know is just not in the cards right now. But
they can't do that legally, right?
I understand with what that is. You can't do that as far as the NCAA. Yeah. So I'm so anti-NCAA. But what I never thought of was the impact it would have where if you are going to be a collegiate athlete, to support the colleges that actually do really need that support, especially with us being our people, Black people, being the forefronts of every single one of these. Like, you hear about the racism that happens on like a lot of these schools, campuses in the South. Why would you want to be a part of fueling that? You know what I mean? When you can help other people, there should be no reason why. We talk about DMV and the basketball that comes out of here. Why in the world isn't Howard University one of the top programs in the nation? Why isn't Morgan State one of the top universities in the nation? Why isn't Coppin State one of the top universities in the area? Like, all these places, Norfolk, like any of these spots, should all have some of the top talent, especially if it's not like they're just going straight to the pros. If you're going to go to college, how about you go to the programs that everybody already has you on the radar? You're on that list as far as high school athlete. I understand wanting to be on the big stage and everything, but especially in basketball, you can showcase your talent on any level. If you got the talent, you got the talent.
Yeah,
it's like, if you think about John Morant went to Murray State.
Yeah.
So if, like, that goes back to Mikey's post. He said, if you're a killer, you're going to be a killer anywhere.
Right.
So if you're great, you're going to be great anywhere. And John Morant is great. And you can go to a Morgan State or a Howard and still be great and bring money to HBCU.
And I'm not mistaken, the coach at Howard, like, learned under some of the best coaches ever. Like, I think he learned under Thompson and Wooden and all these guys. So there's a lot of ability, a lot of talent out there that just need to go to places that it would help out the community. And when I say that, it's not just Blacks. When we talk about white people and what's next, you got to support those things. The only way that we get to move on is if we have actual empowerment and say over some of our shit. You can be an ally by supporting and buying tickets and going to games. Shit, just because it's an HBCU does not mean a white person can't go attend the college. I actually know somebody who was who went to Howard. No, she didn't go to Howard. She went to a school in D.C. And white girl that was the leader of the NAACP chapter. If you're down with the cause and you are actually real about the shit, no matter what shade you are, but you can understand where it is the help is needed, and you can be there and be that person to help out where you need to.
Yeah, the coach for Howard went to play for Duke, and then he developed Russell Butler, Jeremy Lin, a bunch of other people.
And I think if you go back, where did he go to high school and who did he play under?
Raised in D.C., All-American. He went to DeMatha.
I was like, he went to DeMatha.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
What's his name?
Shit, I forget it.
Kenneth?
Yeah.
Kenneth what?
Blakeney?
So it's like, you got these guys that are like, who has a better track record of Hall of Fame level coaches that they've learned from?
Yeah.
That you could go and play for. He learned under Coach K, and he went to DeMatha. What the fuck? Who wouldn't want that? And you can be right there at Howard, right near home.
And he was the assistant coach under Lefty. Wow.
See what I'm saying? It's like that, but you never
know. And then you got all the people that are from the DMV and PG County that have done all the shit that they have done that you can go talk to, or who would be glad to come and help.
Right.
Yeah.
Last thing I got on the list here is going to be, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Cristiano Ronaldo became the first billionaire soccer footballer, which is great. I was looking at the numbers. He's making over $1 million per Instagram post.
Yeah, he makes more money from Instagram than he does from his contracts, and his contract
ridiculous,
is fucking huge.
He had a $1 billion buyout, right?
Some crazy like that, dude.
But it's soccer. Is all of his Instagram posts like selling oil, terrorism, and
no, it's selling.
I don't
underwear.
even know.
Most of it is him selling him and his underwear.
So I don't know.
Yeah, like
so he stole Beckham's bit.
Yeah,
kinda. Yeah.
He just took Beckham's.
Yeah, and he just did it better.
It made $1 billion out of it.
I wouldn't say he did it better. I would just say Beckham.
I will say he did it better.
The technology wasn't there for Beckham. That if Beckham had Instagram when he was younger, different ball game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy that he.
No, because Ronaldo's better than Beckham. Like,
I just like Beckham.
Yeah,
I know,
but
I understand
Like
that.
but
Beckham
we're
is
not
one of my
talking.
favorite
We're not
movies.
talking about talent because he's not making the most of
what
his
I'm-
money from talent
But what I'm saying is,
on
the
the pitch.
talent helps you in
I
the
mean,
other
He's
aspects.
where he is. Okay, gotcha.
Beckham
Because
was a
he's
big
Beckham.
enough name that he would be making that same money right now.
Uh, he-
Everybody knows who Ronaldo is. Everybody knew who Beckham was. We
Right.
have a person who doesn't watch soccer, knows who Beckham is. That is proof.
He knows
There's a
Ronaldo too,
movie,
right?
and on top of that,
Where's Cristiano
no,
Ronaldo's
there's-
movie? There's no
Not
bend it like
anywhere near-
Ronaldo.
anywhere near as a Beckham.
Ronaldo's still
also,
playing.
what you're also not taking into account, Victoria is one of the most famous people on the planet.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
he
And
branded
Ronaldo keeps
himself
this shit
really
secret.
well. Yeah,
And yet Beckham is still not a billionaire.
his wife didn't sing "If You Want to Be My Lover," so case closed.
That's true.
If Jordan hit his prime today, he would have made a lot more money than he did back then. It's just
No,
It
I
happens.
don't think
Social
so.
what?
I don't think so.
Because of media, the social
With
media.
social media, the shit that Jordan was doing back in the 90s, the legend,
It just
like,
would have been different. He just wouldn't have carried himself the same way.
how do you know? How do you know he couldn't? Like, all right, so if
he
he,
has
if
an
he
image
did,
to uphold.
all right, so if he upheld his image, how would that affect his play?
How did it affect Kobe?
Kobe wasn't a billionaire either.
I'm saying, but Jordan also knew from a branding standpoint, he has the Jordan didn't make majority of his money playing basketball. I'm just saying that if
Sure.
Jordan was that guy today, with the amount of influence that he could have had, I don't think that Jordan could be. I don't think anybody could be what Jordan was in the '90s as far as just a icon, right? Just the way everything is built up. But I'm saying, just from a dollars in cents standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
you make more money today than you would have 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Because the contracts and everything else are just different. The
But he
brands are
has-
giving more money. He
Yes,
created the
Right, and
the
I think that
blueprint. They
helps
weren't
him, though.
giving money.
I think that helps him though. Like, I think that helps him now.
I'm
Like, so if he
saying
didn't have-
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
but
fair
look
enough.
at the Joe Felix case, 127 million for an 18-year-old. When Ronaldo came from Portugal to Manchester United, it wasn't more than 35 million.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, so
It's just more
Then
money now.
Werner just went to Chelsea, and Ziyech too.
he hasn't gone yet. There's rumors about it.
Oh, I thought it was about to be official.
Werner, he said he might end up there, which he likely, but it hasn't been done yet.
And Ziyech too, right? I think Ziyech is already there.
I don't know. I like Sidge a lot. I wish he didn't go to the Prem though. Other than that, let's start with final thoughts, James. I know you got some shit to talk about, so go ahead.
Nah, let me go last because I kind of forgot.
Okay.
Oh, you were gonna give some flowers away, I think.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember. Shannon Sharp.
That's
He's
it.
speaking for a lot of us. No, that's not it. That's not
Change
it.
that
I was
script.
talking. And then you
Was that your
ignored,
dramatic
like,
pause?
son of a bitch.
Are you pausing with intent? Are you adding?
Yeah. Yes.
How many?
Yes.
All right,
I
And
was
that's right.
pausing for
pause
effect.
with intent. How many
Shannon
public speaking
Sharp.
YouTube videos
No,
did you watch
no,
over the
shut
course
up.
of last
It's
week?
my turn. Shut up. It's my turn. Thank you. Shannon Sharp has been speaking for a lot of us. Do you not agree, Kadeem?
You just told me to shut up. Make your point. Fucking tag me in after telling me to shut up. Fuck you.
Yes, both.
Yes,
Yes.
He's been speaking from the heart.
Yeah,
For a lot of
and it goes to the point of us saying how we need more people with our viewpoints in media to get our point across, and to maybe turn that person who wasn't sure and they got to listen to their uncle or mom or dad all the time, and then they get someone where they're watching a sports show that has a different perspective than all the other people, that they can say, I kind of agree with that. So now it's not, you don't feel so lonely. The fact that all you hear is your family. You actually have somebody else that's talking a different viewpoint that you can attach yourself to. And I think that's important to give praise to Shannon for some of the shit that he says, because I believe a lot of the shit that he says. Like, I feel the exact same way. And I think his renegotiation's coming up soon. He's about to get the bag. And he deserves it.
Yeah.
So, Skip.
He's with Fox, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
When they got to pay that fat fuck Whitlock anymore. So
Yeah.
Ryan, final thoughts.
Oh yeah, MMA tonight. I'm glad the Prem's coming back. I've really missed it, and I hope they do it safely. Stay safe.
So
If
far,
you're out
so
there protesting, I'm excited to see everybody turn out in support today in DC. Stay safe, stay masked up, and have your voice heard. I'm here for you. I'm here to listen.
K-Dot.
If you're like me, then you're at a point where you're looking at a lot of your favorite sports teams and realizing just what pieces of shit they are. I've been vocal on the podcast that I think if you're a Washington Redskins fan, you're already a villain. But I think I'm at a point where I'm coming up to where unless there are some systematic changes within the front office and the ownership as far as what it is they've decided to do and what sides of certain stances they've tried to be on, I might be done. And
come on over.
I think unless the NFL changes some shit too, I just might be done.
Dude.
So he poked the bear. He doesn't phase me.
I'm sorry, but that shit is funny.
Lions do not consume their thoughts with the thoughts of sheep, right?
Wasn't that Kobe?
I fucked that quote all the way up.
Yeah, but didn't Kobe make that quote?
I got from Game of Thrones. Like, Kobe was not my guy. He was like right here. But these tough choices, which in the grand scheme of things, deciding whether or not to support a football team shouldn't, in the grand scheme of things, be a tough choice. Yet it is. Hold yourself accountable. We all have to hold ourselves and each other accountable. That as much as it might be uncomfortable, as much as it might be something that we don't want to do, as much as it might be something that we want to be a part of, you got to make a choice now. It's not black versus white. It's not right versus left. It's not Republican versus Democrat. Right now, it's right versus wrong. And you have to choose what side of history you're going to be on.
It's always been that way. Yep.
It's always been that way. This is not some new thing. It's the same people back in the 60s that said Martin Luther King was an uppity Negro that needed to stay in his life, stop being a rubber rouser. It's the same people that during the American Revolution said, hey, why are y'all pissing off the crown? We got things okay. It's the same people in the Civil War that decided to fight on behalf of slavery. There are wrong sides of history. Get to choose and acknowledge where you are and to be on the right side of it. It's going to take a lot within you to do so, but you have to hold yourselves and the people you care about accountable. Call them on their bullshit and do not participate in continuing the status quo. It has to change, and it will change. Do not get left behind.
Anything else you just want to add?
What's your final thoughts?
I don't really have any.
He hasn't left the house in 3 months. He doesn't have any social interaction to think about.
I don't even think anymore.
All right, I got a question.
Yeah.
Ryan, when do you think we'll do the pod live again?
When everybody's comfortable, including our families and ourselves. So I
the first one to say I prefer these. But okay.
I can't speak on that because it's not necessarily just my decision. It's everybody here plus the how comfortable our families
what
are.
do you think?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer this.
Okay.
As long as I don't have to go out.
This is cool. I do want us to get back in person, but I don't. Think
I do miss.
I miss hanging out with you guys. So
I think we can do a combination of both of these going forward, but we have to figure out the camera setup because I don't want to lose the video component anymore.
Yeah.
Also, I would say that I wouldn't feel comfortable being in a close setting with anyone outside of my household until I knew that they. Yeah, it sounds like I'm having sex. Unless they were tested, or unless they knew that they weren't a carrier of coronavirus, which
we could
are becoming available. I know I've taken mine. I know Ryan, you've taken yours. So,
I mean, shit, we could set this up outside.
There's even that.
August,
September.
Whatever works out. If y'all have that second wave, I don't think any of that shit's gonna happen anyway either, right?
We'll be in our basements for fucking ever, or in your case, stuck in the closet like R. Kelly. Hey,
facts. That being said, follow us.
All right. See, now I'm about to go back outside.
We're done.
No. Okay. Thanks for following. And yeah.
Don't leave this time, because
thanks for watching.
Also, thanks for following. There's people who follow, right?
What?
We want people to follow. If you're following, so let me try. I'm going to try my hand at the outro. Okay.
Sorry, what?
I'm going to try my hand at the outro. Just give me a shot. I want to try.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna do it 1,000 times better than I do.
I know. I'm just
Go
trying to
ahead.
make you feel more self-conscious about yourself. So
It's not gonna happen, but okay.
He's
One has to
already
know
at
anything.
max capacity.
yeah, that's right. You know what? Fuck it. I'm not gonna do it.
Okay. Well, thank you for watching and listening.
What
Follow
was the
us,
point?
tweet us. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Now, what was that voice?